Hello, shopkeeper community and beyond. This is Michael Gober from Shopkeeper, the profitability dashboard made for Amazon sellers by Amazon sellers. And I am delighted today to introduce to you Jana Krekic, who will be speaking with us about translations and listing optimization internationally with the holidays before us. Indeed, the holidays are imminent, and Amazon sellers across the board are asking us for help getting ready for the holidays. So we've invited Jana to comment on a number of questions that we have from our sellers. Jana.
Hi, Michael. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me again. It's always a pleasure to be able to share some more value with your audience. So my name is Jana, and I'm the owner of YLT Translations, and we are the leading Amazon dedicated translation agency out there. And before you guys say like, well, translations are just a machine thing, there's really more to it. And a lot of people don't see the great potential that you can get actually when you're optimizing your listings. Of course, not only optimization will help you increase your sales, but it will definitely add to it as this is like one piece of a bigger puzzle. But I would definitely would like to for you to pay attention to your listings in Q4. It's going to be like the craziest Q4 ever, considering also like how many inquiries and how many new sellers I see around. I think it's just going to be a very, very insane season. I hope that, Amazon's system is not going to, the bubble is not going to burst. So hopefully that. Right. Apart from that, we should all be good. But to just cut right into the topic. So the topic today is, of course, the holiday peak season tips. And I was already on the show and talking to your audience, but I think it's always in handy to just remind the audience about some very, very important things that you should be really aware. And that's definitely when doing the translations, don't use Amazon automated translations. Don't use Google Translate. Don't use any machine intelligence text because it doesn't make much sense in the target language. Sometimes if you're lucky, maybe a bullet will make sense. But if you take a look at the whole listing, it's all like a bunch of mumbo jumbo and it's not going to make any sense. Yeah. So basically, you should just use translators who know what they're doing. If you want to find somebody on Fiverr, just please take someone who's had Amazon experience and somebody who can definitely do keyword research because without those keywords, nobody's going to find you online. And whatever you're doing, whoever gives you the keywords, just always make sure you type them in on Amazon, Amazon.de or any other international marketplace and see what product shows up. If the wrong product shows up, then probably that is not a relevant keyword for your product.
Jana, if I could jump in for a second, we just to relate this also to Shopkeeper, because I really appreciate what you're saying. So we recently translated our site into Spanish and Italian. And at first we tried the machine translation just to see how much progress we could make. The answer was basically zero, because without context, we were getting things that just didn't make any sense. I would say for us, we learned very quickly that just like you said, using Google Translate, using machine translation basically does not work at all. And you really need somebody who's looking carefully at context. I mean, in this case for you, context is what's the listing, what's the product, what are the keywords, what's the marketplace dynamic, what's the culture, all those things that we've heard you talk about to our audience in the past. And for us, I think it became clear. So I think we became even bigger fans of yours after we did this exercise translating Shopkeeper into Spanish and Italian. So it's a great little tool, but for really meaningful stuff, I think it's not the right answer, and YLT probably is.
You know what I would definitely suggest, the only time that I would suggest that you use Google Translate is, for instance, if you have like your PPC campaigns that exact or broad like phrases, like you have like this Excel sheet where all of your keywords from PPC, you can use Google Sheets for that. So not Excel, but Google Sheets, it has to be online. Right. And then right next to your keywords, you can add insert like a column, and then you have the Google Translate formula. It's like a, two equal signs, Google Translate, and then in brackets, you write like, C1 field, then German or English, and then you click enter, and then you will get the result. And then you will have like, you just by using that, you're just going to have like better orientation what sort of keywords you're using.
Right.
And that is the only way when I would say like, okay, you can use Google Translate because it's really cool for your team, especially if you have like a team of PPC experts in-house, so they don't waste time like going, like Google or to other translators. That's fine, but never translate your keywords, and especially because, like, for instance, we're talking about the holiday seasons, like the Mother's Day, something like Mother's Day rug or Mother's Day black rug. If it translates to German language, maybe they don't have Mother's Day.
Right.
It's very important to do the keyword marketplace, differently. And also, I would always suggest, like, you don't have to have like the special PDF or anything you pay for. Just go to Wikipedia and type the name of the country, and their national holidays will show up. Maybe there are tons of national holidays, like, for instance, or like in Israel, for instance, they have a lot of holidays,
Yes.
which don't exist anywhere else. And
Right.
that's a really good idea for your keyword. For instance, maybe
Right.
in this Q4 season, that's going to be much more than just Christmas or Thanksgiving, that's going to be very good for that country. So make sure to do something like that, do the localized keyword research, and you can definitely optimize your listings like that. And one thing I would definitely stress, like when using keywords and like on a holiday season optimizing, don't use like a bullet for every sort of gift, like a gift for Mother's Day, comma, Christmas gift, Father's gift, Thanksgiving's gift, birthday gift. Don't stop with like gifts for everything. Just make it like a special gift for one holiday, but to put it in context so it makes sense. Don't go keyword stuffing on holiday keywords. That
Keyword
really doesn't
stuffing.
go well.
Yeah.
And it's usually too broad, because just think like, how many people really want to buy my black rug when you say Christmas, right? So just be realistic and don't use keywords that are too broad just because they are seasonal keywords.
Do you really see people? I mean, give us the straight shot here. Do you really see sellers really stuffing their listings like this? Like, just.
I've seen a couple of listings like with the last bullet like that. I mean, they start like normally like, this is we guarantee I don't know what, and like this is a perfect present for Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas. Like, they just cannot mention like 3-4 like different holidays with like I mean, you can clearly see these are keywords, but they're just gonna keyword stuff that last bullet because it's just like, let's just go all in and just like put like all holidays in. So that's really bad. And what I would suggest, definitely look up for the calendar. I mean, Wikipedia has basically all of the basic holidays, and maybe you're gonna find something interesting which maybe your competitors would not think about because they would not do enough research on that matter. Definitely.
Got it. Okay, that's a great tip. What else do you think our sellers should be mindful of specifically with the holidays? Our sellers are some of them seem anxious. They want to do more. They want to accomplish more at the last minute. And of course, doing things at the last minute is not always advisable. What are your thoughts on that as sellers approach the holidays?
Yeah, so definitely also when talking about your keyword ranking, people always want to kind of change something last minute, like, oh, let's change this. Maybe I can get ranked for this one. People love to change the listings. Also, like, let's change our title, and they don't have the time to ably split test it. Or they change their keyword campaigns. They're just like, let's just do exact match, like just not do broad, like do exact dot phrase. And this is very wrong. So my suggestion, and what I've seen that works like throughout the years, is that if your campaigns are working fine and you're optimized and you're ranking for certain keywords, just stay with that. Maybe invest more in PPC, get your ACOS higher. Don't be afraid to get your ACOS higher. And don't be afraid to just, kind of rank on those very relevant keywords. By changing something last minute, it's not going to do you any good. You're going to cause a big mess. Yeah. The algorithm might not even index you for that, and you might lose the rankings and keywords and everything that you're indexed for. So whatever you do, literally, this is the last week that you can do something. I would say like till Wednesday. This is going to be the last chance to change something.
We're in the first week of November. We're in the first week of November here. So, right. Okay, got it.
Yeah, exactly. Like by November the 5th, whatever you want to change it now. And don't touch anything after November the 5th and leave it be. If it's working good, it's going to continue working good. Just make sure, like, mandatory number one is don't be left out of stock. Absolutely not. Right. And I know a lot of people, like, we've been past Prime Day, and I know a lot of people did not even make Prime deals because they were afraid to be left out of stock. So they were just like, I'm just going to leave this price. But this means that I will probably have more stock for, we're having Black Friday and Cyber Monday by end of this month. It's it's an internet holiday, right?
Yeah.
So you really have to think ahead and always make sure to never leave to be left without stock. But definitely, as I said, this is definitely the last week to make any major changes. And whatever you do, if you decide to change the title or bullets, whatever, just change one variable at a time. Don't change like the title and the bullets
Right.
at the same time. If you don't have the time to change everything, just change the title. Change the title and put like the top search volume words, which are today or this week, and just check that. There's like A/B split testing. Also, there's a Amazon A/B testing tool. It's available to people in beta, but I mean, there's Splitly. There's so many different things. So if you decide to change something or to test it, just let's make that a title, because that's going to be the biggest impact, definitely.
Let me ask you just a little bit of a practical question. If you as a seller, you've gotten set up in Germany, for example, you've gone through the VAT situation, and there's a whole bunch of rings you have to jump through. You're there, and we're now 2 months or less from the holidays, and I come to you and I say, okay, Jana, I mean, the holidays are right here. I finally got ready to do business in Germany. What can you do for me? What is your view on getting to work now from scratch? Is it worth it to go ahead, dip your toe in the water, and try to hustle to get something done? By the way, it would be great to tell our sellers what your turnaround time usually is. It would be great to know, if somebody approaches you. Do you say, yeah, let's go for it, and here's the lead time, and here's how it's going to play out? Or is it already, don't rush it, let's wait until after the holidays? What's your recommendation?
That's a really good question. So this depends on a lot of different things. So first of all, I always like to jump on a call, me personally, if it's every client is important, and I always find time to have a call. My coworkers sometimes do that the same, but I usually like to hop on a call because I really want to be at the same page with the seller. So what I would ask this person asking me this, let's get it done. It really depends on the category you're selling in, on if it's a niche product, if it's not. Maybe if you don't have a lot of competitors in Germany, then maybe, we can do a full scratch and you can go full on because you don't have that many competitors, and you are more likely to succeed because you're not going to have to compete with 500 other sellers with the same product, for instance. Yeah. And that's what I would ask you. Can you tell me a little bit about your product? What's the, how much stock do you have left? You have 10,000 in stock. Sure, let's do it, right? So I really need to double check. There's a checklist that I go on. It's the category, niche product, what's your revenue, and how many items do you have in stock? That's very important. Do you have everything figured out? And then once that's okay, let's say you're not in that much competitive niche, and starting from scratch takes some time, and for you to upload and index, it takes a lot of time. So we're probably talking about beginning of December, but definitely our turnaround time is quite quick. So let's say if you have 5 or 6 aces and you want to enter European marketplaces, all 5 or 6 of them, it's going to be 15 days. So if you contact us, let's say, if you're going to contact us with 5, 6 to 10 ASINs, we can get it done in around 2 weeks, and you'll be ready on the 15th day to upload everything and to start, just shoving money into your PPC campaigns. We also deliver keywords that we use also in listings as optimized keywords. We also provide the list so you can put them in your PPC campaigns, or you can just take a look. Maybe you have a different strategy, but this is what we also offer. And this is also what turned out to be a very good idea, to use the keywords you use in your listings, on your PPC and your PPC ads, because what can happen to be is that maybe you're maybe you are ranking as number 1, and your PPC ad is ranking on page 1, but your listing is not optimized and it's on page 10. That doesn't make much sense. That happens all the time, and because people don't see how important to optimize the listing is. And I'm not just talking about translations. I'm talking about an overall thing, how people don't really think about that. And I was speaking at this really big conference today, And I just got a question like, thank you for your presentation. It was great. And it was full of knowledge. It was very knowledgeable, blah, blah. But we sellers from the US, we don't think so much about translations, and we don't think that's important. And this is a lot of times I get this attitude and like this mindset. And people really kind of hit the wall, at one point, because you really have to, and now it's getting more and more difficult. Like
Yes.
Amazon has been pulling down so many listings
Yes.
throughout September and October. So I think that they're doing that just because they're like they're head over like literally everything what's going on. They just want to make the cut and make the cut and like say like no lousy sellers basically.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you really have to step on your game on all of these fields. Maybe sometimes it was okay to have a poor photo, but
Yeah.
now they will suspend you because of that. Or, like in some categories, they have just deleted all subject matter fields, which was a big shock for a lot of sellers, So they're really stepping up the game and like cutting the Amazon sellers lately in the last month. So I think that now, even if you think some things are not relevant, I think they're very, very relevant.
Yeah.
And what also came up as like a news to me is that bullets, this is written in TOS and it has not been active
Right,
recently.
acted on. Right.
Yeah, but like last week, I've seen that some sellers got suspended because they had caps lock in their bullets. And if you go and revisit
Wow.
the TOS,
Wow.
it says that it's allowed to have like only capital letters in bullets. So this is the newest thing I've seen. And 80% of the sellers have not been suspended because of this, but 20 of those, they didn't make it. They're like, this is it, like,
Right.
caps lock. So now Amazon is going after you after every single little thing
Right.
that's written in the TOS. So if I were you and doing the last minute changes, I would definitely revisit the TOS and be like, I'm going to do everything according to what it says here. So in December, you're not like, you're not left without your listings and with 10,000 items in your stock.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Wow. That's amazing advice. Wow. I mean, it's very eye-opening, and it goes to show you the risks that you take when you stir the pot a lot. Just to follow through on the timing with you and your clients, let's push this exercise. So our seller comes to you, 3 or 4 ASINs, pan-European. It's going to take 2 weeks. Okay. Typically, 2 questions. First, typically, what do you realistically see as the turnaround time from when you give your seller your deliverables to when the seller actually acts on those deliverables? I'm just curious what the pattern of behavior there is like.
Well, I mean, that also really depends. But like, since we're in Q4 and people are like kind of running out of time, like
Yeah.
we literally would send the translations and, they would tell us like, okay, like they're going to be live and up tomorrow.
Got it.
So
Okay.
people
That's
would
what I thought.
literally like, if we deliver that like tonight, like 8 p.m., they'll be up live 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Got it.
That's
Okay.
how
That makes
people
sense.
would work.
That makes sense. It's everybody's doing the last minute holiday hustle. One other question for you about how you work with your clients. Do your clients ever give you access to their Seller Central account so that your team can go ahead and do all the uploading and editing and changing?
We don't do that. We used to do this in the beginning, but it was such a very sensitive type of work.
Yes.
Because if something goes wrong, they go just like, oh, it was your fault. And then I just stopped doing that.
No
and
thanks.
Instead of that, thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
And instead of that, we deliver our translations in our templates where it's clearly written like what goes where. We even mark the keywords in red. So you don't have to speak the language, but you see where we put the keywords. It's very transparent and user-friendly. And also we can create flat files. So you can just upload it to your Seller Central account, and you don't have to do anything more than that.
Okay.
Apart from A+ content, which doesn't go in flat file. But apart from that, you can get like everything uploaded by one click of a flat file.
Okay, super. So to summarize the takeaways from this part of the conversation, if a seller really wanted to, they could approach you depending on your availability, because obviously that changes day to day. In theory, a seller could get deliverables from you within 2 to 3 weeks. The seller would have to go ahead and act on those deliverables right away. So in theory, it's doable. I think you're making it very clear. You're cautioning everybody really across the board about making last minute changes, making sudden changes, and also being very mindful of terms of service, because Amazon, it sounds like from your perspective, Amazon is looking for more and more reasons possibly to help
Exactly.
weed out some of the inferior sellers. So it's something that people need to
Exactly.
be mindful of. And really a last minute dash from that perspective is probably really never a good idea, which is a theme that we've heard over and over again. But it's great to know that actually your deliverable time is actually super reasonable. And you're hand delivering a deliverable that's really nicely organized. And if somebody wanted to, they could just take it and act on it within an hour, essentially.
Exactly.
So that's awesome. Okay, super. I'm really excited about that, because I think I think our sellers want to know, like, how does this really work day to day? So I think we've just given them some insight into that, which is really, really exciting. So, again, I think the themes, I think the themes are clear in terms of the weaknesses of Google Translate, the problems of culture, the problems of translating one-to-one. Tell us what's going on in your world today, these days, in your world, in light of the holidays, combined with some changes that have been happening in Amazon, because it feels like every day we're getting new news. So give our sellers insight into what's new in your world that you could add value with for our sellers, please.
Sure. So I'm very excited about this. Like, I think I've been waiting for this to happen for like the whole year. And so all the sellers reaching out and starting to sell on international marketplaces. So I'm talking about the Netherlands. So the Dutch marketplace, ever since October last year, people have been very, stoked about this new marketplace. It's going to be like, the fifth marketplace. It's been a while since Amazon launched any of the new international marketplaces in Europe. And then they launched the Dutch marketplace, and people get crazy, and they translate the whole the whole catalog of their products, like all ASINs, but they didn't get any sales. Like, there were literally maybe just like a couple of sales. People were just hoping for this to change. But then Amazon just had the webinar in February saying that they will not roll out PPC till the end of the year. And then this was very strange and weird, because PPC basically runs the most sales, right? And that actually happened this morning. So Amazon announced that they're launching also Amazon advertising, like together with the DSP, like with absolutely everything. And so I'm hoping that we are going to see some really, really good results with everything we did so far. And also there were no tools for the keyword research for the Dutch marketplace. But Helium 10 had rolled out something in beta version, and today it also started working much better. Probably because they was getting data from like all the PPC campaigns, everything. Right. So basically, Helium 10 is the only tool you can use for the Dutch marketplace results that make sense. Wow. So this is what happened today. And also what happened last week and officially gonna launch today is Amazon Sweden. Right. It's a very interesting marketplace. Sweden is the third biggest European country with around 9 million people, but they have a very big e-commerce penetration. They have a very special e-commerce culture of their own. They have like IKEA, they have Nelly, they have H&M, so many like amazing online stores. Yeah. And but people are also like really pumped on like buying on Amazon, selling there. And interestingly, Amazon is in Swedish, so it's not also in English and another language like happens in UAE, for instance. But it's like in Swedish only, and they rolled out around like 30 categories. They have one stock close to Stockholm called Eskilstuna, and it's going to be like a long distance selling threshold of 100,000 euros, as it is in other countries where they don't have the main FBA stocks warehouses. But I think it's going to be a very, very interesting marketplace. It's very big. It has great potential, especially because Canadian people, they're all into e-commerce. So I would always suggest people trying Sweden, maybe more Sweden and less Netherlands. Yeah. And I'm just really curious to see what happens. We've had a lot of inquiries for Sweden, even before it was officially launched. But I think this marketplace can do some great things down Q4. So it's FBA. So if you're registered for Pan-European program, I suggest you go and try selling in Sweden as well. As I said, you have time, but I would definitely consider Sweden as one of the countries because of their very special e-commerce culture.
Okay, and are you YLT is doing Dutch and Swedish?
Yes, we do absolutely all worldwide marketplaces. We do UAE, we do Japan, we do Singapore, Mexico, Brazil, all Europe. So
Got it.
basically,
Okay.
whenever something is about to be rolled out, we have our Amazon insiders that tell us this, so we are well prepared ahead of time, and we already form a team. When something is officially out, we're probably doing it already. So
The secret headquarters for Amazon
yeah,
translation happens to be located in Serbia, right across the street from your office. It's
exactly.
no longer a secret as of today. I just want everybody to know. You guys have the
Yes, it's
inside
a publicly
track.
known secret. Yeah.
Right. Very cool. That's awesome. I mean, I think that's it's really exciting news. I think we feel the same way. Our sellers have been clamoring for Sweden in particular, and also for the Netherlands. And I think it's
Yeah.
great to know that you basically can offer folks the translations right out of the box. So
And also
people
a lot
don't.
of people,
Yeah.
also a lot of people have been inquiring about Poland and Czech Republic. And these marketplaces were, back in January this year, they were supposed to roll out at the end of this year,
Right.
but because of COVID and everything, they were pushed back to 2021. So if I were you, I would also stay alert for Poland. It's going to be pretty intense and pretty big.
Big.
And if you were
Poland's a
ever
big country.
wondering, and if you were ever wondering, like, why did you have to register VAT when entering pan-European for Czech Republic and Poland
Right.
500
Exactly.
years ago? This is because they were always planned for Amazon launching these marketplaces. And Poland is very, very interesting because it has over like 12,000 online stores, and the marketplace called Allegro.pl, it's listed in top 10 worldwide marketplaces. Just after Tmall and Shopee, which are Singaporean and Chinese very big marketplaces, they land like 5th or 6th, which is insane. And I think that they have like 5,000 buyers every day on their website purchasing stuff. So I think that's really amazing. And Poland has 20 million people.
Yes.
So I think that's definitely something to be
country.
on the lookout for. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
absolutely. That's really exciting. Super. So that's major news. Thanks for sharing that with us from your secret hideout. What else do you have for us? What else is new that's going on in the Amazon world, especially in light of the holidays coming up?
Well, I think what's very kind of useful and suitable for holidays are videos, where you have like
Yes.
the promotional pictures you can put on, and like put like of course like holiday pictures, customize it a little bit of that. And I know that a lot of people, they want to do video ads, and Amazon can do that for you, but it's pretty bad. It looks like a GIF made of like a couple of pictures, and so they kind of form like a video. But there are a lot of different tools that you can make that basically yourself. So don't let Amazon do anything for you which is for free, because what is free and in Amazon in one sentence, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It will cost you the most, I think. This is what my experience. But I think like in light of like holidays and stuff, I think for Q4 is very trending topic are video ads, definitely.
Mhm.
And I mean, video ads have been like insane in Europe. In the States.
Yes.
They've been performing insanely well, and there are many reasons for that. So not all sellers are having the creatives. Not all of them have video ads at all. So you don't have that many competitors.
Exactly.
Not everybody enrolled to get video ad options at all.
Yes.
And a lot of sellers don't even know that they should use those. But the very important thing is that video ads convert a lot. As I said, like, don't use Amazon for making your videos, definitely. But a lot of sellers don't know that video ads are also available in Europe. So just imagine, if you don't have that many competitors in video ads in the US, how many competitors do you think you're going to have in Europe, right? It's going to be like such a lousy competition.
Yeah.
And it's way lower, and they convert like crazy. But there's a really important catch. So in order to use video ads in Europe, you really have to adjust them to that marketplace. Especially, first of all, you need to translate them. You cannot have an ad where you have somebody with the subtitles in English or text or anything else. It cannot be in English. It has to be in the target language. So you need to translate that.
Is that sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Just to be clear, that's a guideline, an Amazon guideline, or is that your advice?
No, it's a guideline.
Okay.
It has to be in the target language.
Got it.
Otherwise, you're just going to have a video ad with no text or anything. I mean, you can have a text with, you can have an ad, but if it has a text or somebody's talking, or you have like some subtitles, which a lot of people do in the US marketplace,
Absolutely.
you will have to have this translated. Otherwise, you're not allowed to have any text at all. And they will not show unless they are in the target language in European marketplace.
I see. So the only text that will show on a video ad in a second language has to be in that second language. It has to be text that's already translated in that language. You will not be able to have English text show up in an ad that's showing in the German marketplace, for example.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, it's clear.
So these videos are very, very interesting. They take a lot of surface, and it's like they're really a clickbait. People really want to click on them. But it's very important to have the content, and of course it's very important to localize them, because you're probably I don't think it's gonna work if you use the same US ad, like video ad you're showing to the US audience, to Germans or Italians or Singaporeans. Like, it's not gonna work. You'll have to localize it the same way that you localize your listings. Yeah. So like, let's say if you have like the salesy language in your listing in the US, it's not gonna work the same in Germany, because in Germany people hate the sales pitch. They don't like to go all cutie and soft like in your listings. They want to know the benefits. Yeah. They want to see the structure. They're like very straightforward. And this is how your video ads should also be like. They have to convey the right message to your audience. So when talking about localization, video ads are also the very important category to mention when talking about that, of course. And when talking about display ads, we're talking about European marketplaces, we're talking about sponsored display ads, not sponsored brand ads. Right. People often confuse that.
Yes.
So sponsored display ads exist in Europe, and custom image variation of sponsored brand ads doesn't exist in Europe. So this is what a lot of people don't really know the difference, and they kind of mixed all of that. But the custom image ad doesn't work in Europe. What we have in Europe is sponsored display ad. So it's very important for this sponsored display ad is that the headline of that ad is also on the target audience language. So you really have to have like the headline, 50 characters limit, written in German, French, Spanish, whatever. That's very, very important. And when talking about sponsored brands headline, I would just like to share my screen.
Yeah, let's do it.
I would like to share some of the A/B testing of this one. Could be useful. Okay, so when talking about A/B testing, this is like previously known as the headline search ads, or HSA. It's only important that the headline of this is translated. So recently Amazon, they just reintroduced this like a couple of weeks ago. They added creative sponsored brand ads. So what you can do, for instance, is like, you can headline. You can write a different language, you can translate it, which is, something that they will encourage you to do. If not, they will auto-translate this and put the headline in machine translated Spanish or German or whatever. I would never suggest that. Right. So whatever you do, just do the translations the way they should be done. And what is very interesting is that what we do also as well is like we put a keyword in this the headline. Mm-hmm. So when you have a new campaign in your PPC containing this keyword, you use it here as well in the headline. So when somebody searches for the keyword, the ad will show up with the same keyword in the headline. So you will trigger this as well as, somebody seeing your product. And what's very important is that maybe, you think that these ads are not performing the best, but when you think about sponsored brand ads, they're there to get your brand awareness, right? Yeah. So it's highly important to compare and track ad sales, PPC versus organic sales, because you'll be surprised, like if you put the keyword in this, like a sponsored brand ads, you would see how big increase in organic sales you're gonna get, because people will see this, maybe not click, but they'll remember, and then they will search for it organically, and they will get to your product. Yep. So it's important just to follow your week over week performance. And basically how you can compare the data using, like let's say Spanish translation versus English one on Mexican, for instance, like marketplace, is that you go into the reports, you mark the relevant date ranges, and this is like, the headline ads that you have. and you create pivot, which is, click like text to convert and then pivot the Excel. And then after that, you'll get all the metrics, and you'll see the headline 1 versus headline number 2 for the date range. And you can compare the results you got after and before you maybe changed that and translate the headline to some other language.
Yeah.
And that's basically it.
That's great. And just for our sellers, all of these reports that you actually just highlighted, these are all reports that we're actually working on also providing to our sellers.
Awesome.
right out of Shopkeeper. And that's where a lot of these questions are coming up about PPC and A/B testing. Wow. That's amazing. I think it sounds to me like the demand for your Amazon PPC related translations is growing really, really nicely, and it makes a ton of sense. I agree with you so much, and I just want to repeat for our sellers the insight, Jana, that you provided us, which is that when a new advertising modality hits a new market, there's an opportunity for a huge competitive advantage, because some people are going to be really, really slow to act on that new advertising channel, as it were. And that's just a really great way of getting ahead of competitors and getting in front of a growing marketplace. But Amazon's requirements are such that you can't just fling your ad across the ocean from the United States over to Europe. You have to translate, and you shouldn't be using Google Translate. And by the way, I just stand by that 100%. And I'm a big fan of yours, but I'll tell all of our sellers, we love YLT, but YLT is a separate company. You can work with YLT. There may be other, but we love YLT. But if you're not going to work with YLT, work with somebody else, because what you can't do is plug stuff in and get automated translations. That's not going to work. I think that's really, really important. That's something you've mentioned time and time again over the past few years, and I think it's always worth remembering. Anything else? Anything else top of mind in terms of news in your world for our sellers, particularly in light of the holidays?
Well, I think that's about it when it comes to international marketplaces. I think I've said a lot, and I will be just super happy if you guys just try out like one thing that I've said from from my talk today. I think that could be possibly a game changer for you.
Absolutely.
But as I said, definitely this week is the last week. After this week, don't touch anything.
Right.
And
shut
that's
down.
it.
Shut your exactly. Restrict your own access.
Yes.
So before we let you go, Jana, tell us a little bit more. Just leave our sellers with a little bit more information about working with you. How does it work? How do you get started? What do we need to know in order to get ready to get to work with you?
It's pretty simple. If you want to do if you want to translate your listings, all we need from you are your ASIN numbers, and if they're available on Amazon, if they're live, that's all we need. We don't need anything else apart from that. So we offer a full Amazon listing translation service. It means you get keyword research, you get A+ content, search terms, localization, translation, all from native speakers that know Amazon, have been trained for Amazon translations only. Apart from that, if you want to do packagings, ad translation, follow-up emails, brand store, translation, Q&A, we would just need your texts so we can give you a quote. And of course, we also offer like listing optimization, flat file creation, as I already mentioned. And we also do keyword research, where we deliver complete keyword databases with 300 plus relevant keywords. And I would also like to offer a free listing analysis for everyone that's been maybe wondering, like, why is my listing underperforming, or to point out to your low-hanging fruits. You're more than welcome to send us a listing, and it will be we will give you our feedback with what can be improved. If your listing is perfect, we'll tell you, like, don't touch it. Right. We don't usually suggest to change something if it's doing all right. As I said, if it's indexed for certain keywords, especially now, don't touch it and don't do anything radical. So we'll just point out if it's something that can be really, really improved without affecting your rank and sales. Okay.
Just one last question. I hope you don't mind my asking. Has your pricing changed as the number of markets has increased in the pan-European bucket, so to speak?
Well, we already have a very, very fair pricing. So what we charge for one listing to one marketplace is 90 euros or $100. But when it goes down to pan-European marketplaces, it's 85 euros or $90 per listing per language. And you really have, like, you don't have a word limit for your listing. You get like keyword research, localization, search terms, PPC, keyword list. You basically get everything, and there is not a service that offers like that. They usually have like a limit on the listing number, or they don't do A+ or anything. So this is like a full package.
Yeah.
And if you have more than 20 ASINs, we will be happy to decrease the price even lower.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds so exciting. I'm so happy that you spent the time with us, and I'm really super grateful that you walked us through your insights and also this news, all this fun stuff that's going on. So thank you so much for taking time out. I hope that we can invite you back for more updates and more insights. I think this is a phenomenal service that you're offering. You know what you're doing. I mean, you've been doing this for a while already. Like in Amazon seller years, you're like a dinosaur, basically. So it's tried and true. And I would the one thing I want to end with is, as somebody who also loves languages and studies languages, what it's obvious from talking to you is that not only must you be a good translator and a team of good translators, but you understand a lot about what's going on in the world. And that's actually true in general. When you spend a lot of time in a lot of different cultures studying a lot of different languages, you just have a really interesting perspective and a rich perspective. And from the point of view of an Amazon seller, that could be a huge competitive advantage, the insights that you have to offer about what's going on. So I think it's awesome. I'm super excited. I'm conscious that, there's a lot going on for the holidays, but nonetheless, listen to Jana. She's telling us, don't do anything crazy. Don't do anything rash. There's really only a little bit of time left, but do reach out to Jana if you want to have your listings reviewed for their translation potential or anything else. Thank you so much for your time, Jana, and happy holidays.
Thank you so much for having me. And, always a pleasure to talk here. And I really hope that people will try, like my final word for the day was to try anything from this talk today and let me know how it went. You can reach me at YLT-translations.com.
That's a great idea.
And yes, and I would love to hear your feedback. And Michael, thank you so much for having me, and happy holidays as well.
Absolutely.
Take care.